St Stephen's Gate was the most impressive entrance to Norwich, being the conclusion of the route from London. Not much of those impressive city defences are left at this point. In 1578, Queen Elizabeth I travelled down St Stephen's, as did Charles II in 1671. Since then, the road's purpose has seen many changes, originally being very narrow, being used for trams, being one way, a 4-lane dual carriageway, and now restricted access for buses, taxis, bikes, and occasional miscreants looking in error for a route straight through the city. Beginning at this corner, we'll have a look down the western side, then return on the other side of the street. This is the view of that corner in 1962. We'll go backwards and forwards in time, but progress along each side of the street in order. This is a little way down the street, again in 1962, and these buildings were replaced by the Co-op, seen here in 1975. Part of the Co-op store became QD, seen here in 1999. Behind and looking towards the street, this is Wade's Court in 1937. Although you can't compare the two in either location or design, there are still today courtyards behind the main street. This is the former Woolworths store seen in 2003, and it was demolished to make way for the entrance to Chapel Field, now Chantry Place. This shows the 1964 demolition of what would become Sainsbury's, then Woolworths, then the entrance to Chantry Place, with the rest of the street intact. One of the shops in the distance was Downs Way, where Muhammad Ali randomly promoted Ovaltine in 1971. Today's one-post alley is named because it had a single post intended to stop runaway cattle. Wartime air raid damage enabled new buildings to be established, which are still there but with different occupants. Between those shops is Barwell's Court, once a thriving thoroughfare but now looking sadly neglected. Heading towards the Marks and Spencer's corner, we have photos from 1938, 1954, 1955 and 2021. But before those, the site was occupied by Buntings from 1860, with this building branded the Store for All, dating from 1913. It was destroyed in the war, but rebuilt in similar style and occupied by Marks and Spencer's from 1950. As we begin the return journey on the eastern side, St Stephen's Plain was once more triangular in shape than is now apparent, and was the site of a 15th century horse market, explaining the unique name of the neighbouring Rampant Horse Street. St Stephen's Street was very narrow, as seen here in 1938, and again war damage meant demolition, shown here in 1953. That included the 15th century Boar's Head pub, and allowed Norwich Union to rebuild the northern end of the street, setting back the building line as shown here. South of Surrey Street, all these shops would also disappear to form a widened dual carriageway, now mainly used as an extension to the bus station. Behind the frontage and looking towards the road, this picture shows the rear of numbers 25 to 31. Notice the arch on the left hand side, which is shown again on this photo of numbers 27 and 29, with the street itself through the arch. And here is the street at that point. Taking in some more photos now of shops from the 1930s as we move back towards what's now the roundabout, and this one is the Crown and Angel pub with Page and Sons corn stores on the right. Going through the gate and looking back towards the street would look like this. Into the 1960s now, and just before street widening took place, this is Wheatsheaf Yard, named for a pub which had closed 100 years before in the 1860s. Next up we have the Bull pub, which was still operating here in 1936 but closed in 1948 and is seen here in 1961. We're back at what is now the Roundabout, and with another glimpse at a former pub. This is the Great Eastern, which closed in 1962 as part of the street's redevelopment. In 1964, a subway was built to improve pedestrian access, and the junction was turned into the roundabout that we see today.